Welcome to The World We Want, a television presentation of the New York Herald Tribune Forum for High Schools. For the 11th year, the New York Herald Tribune, in cooperation with Pan American World Airways, Trans World Airlines, and Scholastic Magazines, has brought to the United States some 30 students from as many countries. They've been here now for 3 months, living in the homes of American families, each in 4 different families, in 4 different communities, going to school and following a normal program of school and community activities. They arrived 3 months ago. They were formally polite, shy. The power of assimilation of this country, I need say no more about. Let's sort yourselves out now. Denmark, Ceylon, let's do it quickly. Vietnam. Here, you take some of them, team, and pass them out. Vietnam, Germany, Germany, Argentina, Thailand, here Tim, Ghana, it was Gold Coast, now it's Ghana, Ethiopia, Nigeria, there you are Bonnie, Norway, Brazil, Norma, Finland, where's Finland, Iceland, Israel, Singapore.
How many for Lebanon, Mrs. Walla?
Italy, Egypt, Korea, Pakistan. There we are. Now, I'm awfully anxious to know what you've acquired in this country that you're taking home with you. Any volunteers? Yes. Sue, wait a minute. South Africa.
I've got 4 pairs of Bermuda shorts, 4 crew neck sweaters, and 3 Ivy League shirts.
Italy.
I've got Bobby socks and waffle iron.
A waffle iron. Indonesia.
I got many things, but the most important is bubble gum.
Bubble gum. Oh, Norma, you aren't going to take. Oh, don't do that from the forum. Denmark.
I got this one.
Jordan.
I can take everything except the hot dogs and Elvis Presley. Mrs. Waller, we want Muhammad to imitate Elvis Presley.
Muhammad.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Come on, Muhammad.
Could you give him some music?
I think too much.
Too much. Make him
Need your love and loving too much. Need your love and loving too lips.
I was just going to ask you if you've also acquired some things here that you thought you'd better not take back to your countries. Is that one, Mohammed?
the downfall of Morocco.
Yes, Dennis?
One
Philippines?
things I learned to cut class, and I certainly hope I don't take it back.
You learned to cut class. Where did you learn to do that?
One whole period. We tried, but we
Which school?
couldn't.
Don't dare tell. Brazil?
Mrs. Waller, I've acquired 4 new families and such a big ton of friends that I'm taking home with me. I don't think I could have made them in 3 years in Brazil, and I made them here in 3 months.
You know what one of your host families wrote me?
No.
A quote from your letter that you wished you'd never met them at all. Because your heart was mincemeat now, and it would have been whole otherwise. Yes, Singapore?
There's something I would like to take back, but I won't. American Ghost.
Wait a minute, over here, Vietnam.
We can't take them home.
Oh, you have plans, do you? All
If
right.
we want to.
Now let's come over to the middle, Egypt.
I'll take back with me the crew cuts because the Egyptian boys leave their hair too long.
Nigeria, you had something you wanted to say.
Well, I think I take back an extra weight, 20 pounds extra weight.
Hey, that's interesting. How many others? Let's raise your hands if you've gained weight. How many?
I think from the ice cream.
From ice cream. Is there anybody who doesn't like ice cream?
Myself, hot dogs.
Well, now, where did you have a horse burger, Dennis?
Washington.
Tell me, or maybe this isn't a fair question, what's the most fun you've had here? Now, we'll start over at this side first. What's the most fun you've had here? Finland?
When I went to one school and I was creepy and it mentioned to me, "Hi, honey." I was so surprised, but I took that as kind of fun.
Great hospitality, I'm sure. Yes, England?
I was in the Port Authority building, and there was a person behind the counter insisted upon making passes at me, which was not at all like they do in England.
I think that one thing which Sarah has taken is a sore throat back home.
You lost your voice. Is that all the singing we were doing in the bus on the way? How about Argentina?
I think
Tomas?
the most fun is the one we had the whole group in Washington together. The whole experience.
Yes,
I would like that.
Wait a minute. Don't all talk at once. We can't hear you. Was Washington the highlight of that trip?
I think
Meeting the president was the most important.
Meeting the president. What do you remember about that, Nadia?
When the first time I saw him, I thought that he would come surrounded by soldiers. And then when I found him coming just alone and he shook hands with us, every girl exactly the same like the other, I thought he would shake hands with a girl from France or England a different way than he would shake hands with me or with any other delegate. But I found that he shook hands with us exactly the same.
Will never any of you forget that day of meeting Eisenhower, will you? Anybody else? What fun? What's the most fun you've had here? Let's stay here, France.
Oh, the greatest fun for me was to learn how to cheerlead. I became a very good cheerleader.
Well, I show you how. Who's learned how to cheerlead? Give us an example of a cheer as you learned it in American high schools.
F-I-C-E.
Fight, fight, fight! C-E-A-M,
We're going
to organize a game, a basketball game with cheerleaders and everything, just like the Americans do. Let's see what we've gained.
Is that what I heard this afternoon when the Arab... I should explain, the Arab League was playing the Scandinavian bloc.
The Arabs versus the Vikings.
The Arabs versus the Vikings, I see. The Arabs won.
I wouldn't say something. The thing is to drive cars in old roads and have fun, or even during the night time, at midnight, and just having fun. And
Turkey, you haven't got your sign under your chin, so nobody knows who's talking. There, hold it up. You do like driving cars, do you?
Yes, I did. That's the most fun I had here.
Now,
And also hoggies. All onions in it.
What's a hoggy?
Hoggies. They said it's a national American hamburger, American food.
Well, you teach me about that. That's something American I don't know. Wait just a minute.
Smelling awful way. Onions.
Talking about sports, Norma, have you learned any new sports here?
Well, not from the Americans. Lim here from Singapore is teaching me judo, and Susan promised to teach me golf.
Well, what do you pay in return?
I will wash his socks. I can't take payment.
South Africa?
It might endanger my amateur status.
Oh, were you teaching judo too?
No, I can't take any payment for golf.
Sue is the national junior golf champion in South Africa. But yes, Morocco?
There is a great fun that everybody here had, and they are too shy to say it. They have the surprise parties and girls. They are too shy to say it.
How many of you have had dates since you've been here? How many of you won't be able to have dates when you go back to your own countries? Ethiopia, India. Well, something to remember, Spot. Yes?
Coming back to driving, I'm sure I'm not going to take the chance and drive with Selma, but I certainly enjoy driving toboggans and a sleigh riding party. I think it's spring now and we sort of forgot the snow, but we certainly won't forget when we come back to our countries.
Yes, how many of you saw snow for the first time here?
Nadia, walk.
Yes?
You know what? I think I'll carry some ice home. I enjoy ice cream very much.
Just a minute, Vietnam? Wait a
I
minute.
think the funnest thing to me personally is in a party, my date danced with another boy and I grew a little bit jealous.
Yes, Indonesia, here in the middle.
Well, the funniest thing I had was that they asked me whether I was married. And I asked them why. Well, in Indonesia, you don't have to go to school. If I were you, I should marry youngly.
Yes, Denmark?
Mrs. Wright, I think the most fun has been to see how the host families and host schools, the last ones, they have been flabbergasted when they saw how Americanized we have got all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you could see a picture of yourselves 3 months ago and now, you would realize. Yes, Magoo from Sudan, way in the back.
I think the most fun I have had was to wash dishes.
Didn't you ever wash dishes in the
No,
Sudan?
Not in the Sudan, no.
Why not?
Because women do these things.
That's the way it should be done.
Like woman's job?
Lebanon over here.
Well, the most fun I had was in a board school where I agreed with my roommate to carry 350 chairs from the dining room and hide them in the men's room so that the students will take their breakfast while standing. When we finished taking the 350 chairs, a teacher was watching us. He came and said, "Guys, will you please take them back?" We remained till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Only now I find out some of the things that have been going on. Yes, Dennis from the Philippines?
I think the greatest fun we with Lim, Gujan, and Niels had was sneaking out in Washington under your very nose. Sneaking out for horse burgers.
Now I've got the whole story. Thank you, Dennis.
Yes, Mrs. Wall, the rest of it. But in the meantime, let's leave those things alone. Otherwise, we really will get into trouble.
I've got another question I want to ask you. Most of you have traveled for the first time coming here to the United States, but now you've met people from 32 other countries. What's the next country anybody wants to visit and why? Well, now who will we take? Thailand.
Well, I want to visit Russia because I think it's like a mysterious behind there, because I love to know what things are going on behind the Iron Curtain.
Now who else? Amelia from the Ghana?
Yes, I think I like to visit France after meeting Catherine from France. I think the French people are very vivacious and I like to meet them and just get to know them as much as I've known the Americans.
Vive la France. Jordan?
Is there any place more beautiful than Jordan?
Tourists, now wait, let's take United Kingdom.
I'd like to visit Ghana so that I can congratulate one of the first independent African countries when I get back.
Ethiopia?
Well, I was going to say that the thing is, I want to visit the Union of South Africa and really see what is happening down there. I am hearing of things like the segregation going down there, and I want to find out for myself if this thing really happens. And if I get the chance to go there, it would be really
Well,
nice
you
to
have
me.
a friend there, won't he, Sue? Italy?
I'd like to visit Indonesia because she's so sweet, she's so wonderful. Thank you.
I'm sure many would join you in that, Diana. How about you, Sue?
I'd like to visit India because to me, that is still a mysterious continent.
When I was asking what's the most unforgettable experience anybody's had with another delegate, was it you, United Kingdom, who said discovering that India was a psychoanalyst?
That was one of them, and the other was that Boniface from Nigeria did not fall into my arms as I approached him. After all, we are the mother country.
And you expected all the colonial peoples to be duly grateful?
I certainly did.
Have you learned anything on that subject? We'll come to you in a minute, Nigeria. What have you learned on that subject since you've been here?
Well, I've certainly learned, I think, to see their point of view. I think perhaps I might be even more pro-British than I was before I came here, but I'm hoping that all our colonies can get independence as quickly as possible.
And Ghana's given us a good example. Boniface, what did you... Wait, I won't come over to you until we get in the middle. Denmark?
I should like to go to the Philippines because I know they have got both Coca-Cola and hamburgers there too.
All right, Dennis, where do you want to go?
Well, I met a French-Canadian girl in one of my host periods, and I say those people in Canada must be something.
Pakistan?
I'd like to go to Denmark after hearing all the things that Niels told me about his country.
For example?
The beautiful plains and the countryside and no slums, and he describes as if it was a paradise.
The green is different from some of the vast desert in Pakistan.
Yes, but we have the green in East Pakistan.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, Morocco?
I'd like to go to Lebanon because I've seen that we have many things in common, me and the Lebanese delegate, and also it seems that Morocco and Lebanon has something in common too, these two countries.
Much in common.
Is your Arabic enough the same so that you understand everything that the other one says? What are the differences?
Mostly speaker. Just the dialect is different.
Well, give us a word that you say differently from Ziad in the Lebanon.
Damlige ulu.
Soar.
They say
It's
soar.
the bracelet.
Just some words different and sometimes the pronunciation.
But in general, the Arabic, all
Yeah,
of you from the different
different.
Arabic
The-
countries speak
not
is more or
different,
less
yes.
the same. Yes, Germany,
I think the
Norbert.
next country I will visit is the eastern part of my country, eastern Germany, because I started to feel only over here what a tremendous job for youngsters of my age is to be done over there. So I think that will be the most useful.
When we go to Berlin next week as a group, will you feel perfectly free about going into East Berlin?
Yeah, you will.
You don't have any hesitancy
no,
about
no,
that?
that's not.
You still have family in East Germany, don't you?
Yeah.
How much family?
Well, quite a few cousins and aunts and.
Do you have any contact with them these days?
Yeah. of
The
course.
post
I would
goes
say
all right,
most of
does
the
it?
Germans are in contact with other people in eastern Germany.
How about Norway? Where do you want to go?
Well, I would like to go to Japan or Korea or something far east. Now I met all these people and see they are so different from what I'm used to from Norway and what we see in America and everything. So I would love to really see the people as they are after having seen our delegates from those countries.
You've been a good propagandist. Can you swing? Can you swing back across to Japan, way over here on the right? Wait a minute, Yumiko.
I welcome you, yes. And I want to go back to America again. And I want to learn American more. And in America, many people who have different nationalities living together. So I can learn the most easiest way in America. So
Yumiko, do you realize how quickly you've learned English? Do you remember the first week when you would hardly say a word? This has all happened in 3 months. I hope you will come back. Just while we're on that point, how many of you plan to come back here to college? Well, good. We'll have a reunion very soon. Now, wait, I skipped 2 people way over here on the left-hand side when we were still talking about what country you want to visit. Vietnam?
Well, if I have the opportunity to choose the next country that I'll visit England, as I was not influenced by her beauty. But England is a country of folk and ghosts of Shakespeare's Hamlet and Juliet and everything that will attractive. And
You think fogs and ghosts and Shakespeare would attract you to England?
that's attractive to me.
Yes. Well, maybe Sarah will invite you. Will you, Sarah?
Yes, definitely. Come anytime, Leigh.
Now, Nigeria?
Yeah, I like to visit United Kingdom. She's the first British convert I've ever had to bring her towards anti-colonialism. First of all, when I came here, they're realizing the old things are gone. No more colonialism, no more imperialism, no more anything.
Didn't you know that before you got here?
Partially. That was after the invasion of Suez. But I want to get to know that especially going to Sarah's house,
But don't
I'm
you
sure
forget
you'll have a warm welcome there.
Don't you forget the 5 o'clock tea.
Lebanon?
I would like to visit the Soviet Union because I want to see to what extent did communism spoil the human being there. We can never recognize the danger of communism unless we can see what it has done in the human being in its countries.
It's a pity that Mirka from Yugoslavia couldn't be here tonight. We're missing 2 delegates, I should explain. Mirka from Yugoslavia and Nahid from Iran. Neither one of them were able to get here. Yes, Brazil?
Well, Mrs. Waller, after meeting the whole group, I can't make up my mind which country I would like to visit next.
So why not be a world traveler?
I would like to.
You'll have friends down 33 countries.
Yeah, Mrs. Waller.
Just a minute, Lim up here.
There are 2 countries I would like to visit. Yugoslavia, where I would like to find out for myself how true Merkel's statements are. And also Brazil. The reason for that can be found on my left.
Yes, Morocco?
I have planned with the Catherine from France that in 1958 we'll do the world tour, the world tour.
The world tour?
Yes, and we go to for a year to all the countries which was represented by these delegates.
Fine, so
Tell me, has either one of you convinced the other one, or have you just not discussed North Africa?
About North Africa?
Mm-hmm.
I think we are both convinced about something. About freedom to every country.
Well, Mrs. Waller, I believe that we both have the goodwill to understand one another, and we hope that through the UN there will come a peaceful resolution and just to the colonized people.
Well, we all hope that. Let's go back to France. Kathy, I think you had something to say a moment ago. Wait a minute till the camera gets down to you.
Well, I think that if someone convinced someone, it may be Mohammed, that convinced me that Algeria was not a part of France, which I never thought of before.
Wait a minute, India?
Well, if there's any country I want to visit next, I'm very fortunate because that's the country we are going to. I'd like to go to Germany. If Norbert is any representative of the people of his country, I'd like to see the country in which such people live.
There are more commercials around here tonight. Daphne?
Very natural that the human being will always want something that is impossible. But I think I'm still full of hope that it won't be impossible to visit one of my neighbors in the next few years.
Jordan or Egypt or Lebanon?
Yeah, that's right. I've
Good,
got
but
some
we
friends
all
there.
hope you can. We'll applaud that. Who's next? Yes, Ceylon?
I would like to visit our inimitable friend Lei from Vietnam.
Twice. We can have 2 seasons. If you want the summer season, I'll take you up to 1,000 feet up to the plateau, and then you shall have winter weather there. And if you have a summer, you can go to the seashore at 100 miles up to the north. We can have anything over
You
there.
can convince us all as long as you'll sing for us when we get there, Lei. Gudjon from Iceland, don't you want to go anywhere but Iceland?
Yes, I would like to go to the Philippines because the food is good. When we were in Washington, Dennis from Philippines invited me to some of his relatives, and we had Filipino food, and it's just delicious.
I'm sure Dennis didn't cook it.
I'm sure too.
Mrs. Waller, he will melt there because it's too hot for him.
Oh no, it's not.
He will become waterland.
Now, I want... Yes?
Northern Europe, Scandinavian countries, especially to see your glorious sunset there. Then also I would like to visit South America to see exotic dances there.
Let me ask you one other thing. How has the image, when you were on that plane arriving at Idlewild 3 months ago, you must have had some ideas about what America was going to be like. How has what you have found here, how does it differ from what you thought you were going to find? Nadia, Egypt.
Well, I used in Egypt to go to cowboys movies as a teenager. So I had an idea that if I come to the United States, I'll meet Indians and cowboys in the streets, and all the boys will be wearing jeans and carrying guns in their hands and knives, and they will be very wild. And all the girls will be in love with Elvis Presley.
Oh, well, how did you find them?
Indonesia?
Well, before I came, I saw that all the girls sound like Marilyn Monroe with very tight skirts, and that they walk like this. But now I see that that's not true, and that the boy have an overhanging hairlock which cover their eyes. But instead of that, they have crooked,
What other images of America have changed? Philippines?
Well, I always thought that the American teenager was synonymous to American juvenile delinquent. And I found out to my greatest happiness that the American teenagers are the most regular people in the world.
How many of you saw that picture, Blackboard Jungle, in your countries? That's formed quite a few opinions about America, hasn't it?
It did, really.
And the wrong kind of
Rebel without a cause. Do you feel that on the whole, the American movies that you see in your countries give you an accurate picture of America?
No. Not all of them. Some of them give bad pictures.
Wait a minute, let Lebanon and then Morocco. What'd you
Well,
say?
some of the American movies give distorted ideas about the United States, but some of them are very good.
Yeah, but you know, people, they listen to the wrong side
That's
more
true.
than they do to the right side.
Unfortunately.
Morocco?
I never think that I did never think that the American movies we've seen in Morocco are true, and they give a picture of America. Because if I believe that, I can believe also, and I have to believe the films brought to the United States about Morocco.
Well, that's one of the first things you'd all agree on changing then, the films that America sends abroad. Korea here hasn't had a word in.
Well, before I came to the United States, even though I believed that America would be very gorgeous and the life would be very delightful, but I actually gained another idea that the teenagers are really enjoying their life, and my image about America has not changed it a little bit, but it is added into its gorgeousness.
Yes, South Africa?
Well, before I came here, I thought that the pace of life would be terribly hectic,
and I found that it certainly is. And now I don't wonder that America has one of the highest incidences of thrombosis in the world. It's not surprising.
How about Ghana?
Well, while I was on the plane, I thought that Americans will be very businesslike and practical and very somewhat like aloof. But I was surprised to see that some of them are very childish. They like to be liked, and if you don't like them, they get very hurt like little children. Right.
Tim?
Well,
Thailand?
First time I think of America, I think that it's a very, very perfect country. But now I find out that the people, I don't know why they look so tired in New York. The people, they don't smile, and unless, you just say something hello to them, they just walk past and look at you like you are. And that is so dirty in New York. I don't think it's much dirty.
Cities are almost like the whole world over. Yes, Diana? Italy?
Everybody was divorced, I thought.
Everybody was divorced. No, not quite.
And instead I've been living with 4 different families and all perfectly happy.
Yes, Denmark?
In the plane on my way, I wondered what the Americans' souls were like, and I doubted that they had any. Now I have discovered that they have really souls.
Yes, Magu from Sudan?
Before I came here, I thought that the Americans were not very much interested in the outside world. I find that
I'm not hearing you. We're not very much interested in
the outside world, in the international affairs and things like that. And then I found out that the most people who are interested in the world.
What was that school you were telling me about? Was that a New York school?
Bentley High School.
Where?
I think, well, the most remarkable thing which happened to me during my stay at that school was that during one of the history classes, practically every student had a map of the world in front of him and a newspaper, and there was a television set inside the classroom and the radio. And everything, all the historical information were up to date.
Now, altogether, any of you learned anything new about your country since you've been here in America? Sorry, that's all the time we've got. This has been The World We Want. Next week, at this same time, the final program in the series. Next week, at this same time, the final program in the series. We're leaving then for Berlin, and the whole group will be going there to spend a week to do forums in Berlin. If you want to exit in the way you wanted to, you may start us out, Sue, will you? Come on.